They tryna tell me that I'm good without you. Just stay with the things that make you feel good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Lawanda.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we're back for another Queen Sugar recap. This time we are doing season 5, episode 4. This one's titled Early May 2020. So if you hang tight, we'll be right back with you.
Baby, I know where the last one burned you. Know that ain't cool. Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. So you can't trust that
All right, everyone, we're back. Like I said, we're talking Queen Sugar. And we had our recap last week. We got some love. Tiffany, you want to tell them about it?
Yeah, I posted our recap for last week, and of course I tagged the Queen Sugar cast and tagged Ava DuVernay and Kofi Siriboe and the entire cast. And Ava gave us a shout out. She pretty much thanked us for watching the show. So I was really pleased to see that and honored and humbled by that. And Kofi too. He liked the post. So much love to them both for showing us love.
Yeah, I was so happy to see, like, whenever we get reactions from the cast and creators, it's always nice. So that was big. So
yeah, it made my day.
Yeah.
And mine too when you told me.
So we can dig into this episode, season 5, episode 4. And it looks like we're picking up right where things left off. A lot of our predictions from last week came true this episode. Specifically when it came down to, Prosper, how he, Tiffany, you said that he should move in with Vi in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. And when she said that she was gonna, I'm gonna be by myself and I'm gonna cook some things. Look, I wanted to move in with them. I was like, I wouldn't mind getting a plate. So I was like, if Prosper won't go, I'll go.
I will never turn down some home cooked Southern.
Exactly. And pies too.
And he was eating a TV dinner. Yeah, he better go.
Yeah.
You heard Prosper? He said, "Yeah." He was like, "That sounds like a plan."
Yeah.
Let me pack my bag. I'll be over there so shortly.
Told you I would have too.
Well, one of our spotters kind of got on me and told me to leave Prosper alone.
Seen that, Ron.
But he said, well, see that you was trying to kill Prosper off.
Yeah,
she said,
I need you to stop. I need you to stop. I'm like, okay.
Right,
so, on behalf of you, spotter, that we all love dearly, I will stop and leave Prosper alone. Nah, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I still think, but I'll leave it alone for now.
For the simple fact that, because what he said after he found out about Hollywood's mom, which was another sad event this episode, we kind of called that Hollywood's mom was going to go. So that was another one of our predictions that came true. But the conversation that Vi had with Prosper when she told him about his mom passing, he was like, he jumped right back into worry mode because he's like, about 5, this is like the 5th person I know now that has died from COVID in my age group, and I'm so concerned about this issue, and this is not how we should be going. We should be able to enjoy our last days and not go out because of this virus. And I can't say I disagree with him, but he is gonna worry himself if he don't get the corona. The anxiety might take him out.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I understood where he was coming from, because not just because of COVID, but I think sometimes with elderly people that happens anyway, because I know when my grandmother was alive and she always used to get like some of her friends that went before her, and she lived till she was like almost 99. Whenever she would get the call about someone dying, she would always think about her own mortality. I'm like, so-and-so died and this, that, and the other and stuff. So I thought like with Prosper, like even though he definitely was concerned about the COVID and he had anxiety about it, but when you hear about your peers dying, especially elderly folks, they do start to like, oh my goodness, you know.
Well, when you're young, you feel like you're immortal.
Yeah.
But after you get a certain age and you start getting aches and pains in places you didn't even know you had, and things start happening and you see your friends dropping off like flies, you begin to realize that you got to take every day as if it's your last and try to be as productive, try to enjoy yourself, try to do all the things you need to do, because tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. And as you get older, you realize that more than any time in your life.
Particularly when you see so many people dying at one time, how stressful that can be to your psyche, and I think even for people who have a lot of faith, I think this was a time that tested that, just because you seem very helpless and like as if there was nothing you could do, particularly for the situation where Hollywood's mom, where he couldn't even see her.
And that was a lot of people's reality, just going up to the hospitals and they denying visitors. And so you're really left in a helpless position where you can't even, spend your last moment, say your last words. I mean, even beyond the visit, some people couldn't even have phone calls or FaceTimes. Like it was just the end of the road, no closure, nothing. So it was definitely a tough time. But I love the little talk that Vi gave Hollywood about how proud his mom was of him. So I thought her words were very comforting. She always knows the right thing to say.
That's what I kind of love about this show. When you look at the relationships, how supportive they are for each other. It's saying the right words, being there, just being his rock, and you understand why they're together and why it works.
Exactly.
It's a true family, and you can feel that Southern comfort. When you see them interacting with one another. They can fight, but when it comes down to it, it's about family and love. And really, like you said, I think they do such a wonderful job in depicting that.
I was gonna say that because sometimes you watch shows, especially when you see shows about us.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the crabs in the barrel situation. Is we going at it, we fighting, we backstabbing, whatever. And this show always, like you said, depicts them supporting each other, even if they're beefing for a while, not speaking for a while. But when it comes down to it, they always have each other's backs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of, what Ralph Angel and the resident that he's becoming friends with said. Like, in the end, it's really not about the money you make, the things that you acquire, or the hustle, the job, the titles, and the prestige. It really is about the relationships. It's about family. It's about love. It's about their relationship. That's the only thing you have in the end, and that's what you miss in the end.
Yep, I'm so glad you said that. Because I wanted to talk about Reggie, Ralph Angel's new friend that's in the place where he's working now. And I think that was my favorite part of the episode, where they were having that talk, and then later on how he was so touched by Reggie's words that he went and arranged a visit for Reggie's wife to come visit him through the window. And we've seen stuff like that on social media too, early on in the pandemic, in real life. And so it was cute that they put that into the storyline too, because it really is something that's so touching. Being married for 57 years and you can't even see your spouse, like that's a whole nother level. So that was such a cute moment.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I had to man up and hold it back at that point.
Who was cutting onions at your house, Ron?
Yeah. Let's just say the onions were near. Okay. But yeah, I had to man up on that. Because it's all really about, again, what we've been speaking about, the family. And when that family is separated, for whatever reason, you begin to realize, as the husband or even the wife, that how much it really means to be a family. And then when that is separated, it's like you're in the dark. You don't know what to do, and depression sets in so quickly. So I really believe in family. And I'm not just really talking about, your personal family. Like we're all family, you know.
Extended family.
Extended family. And those are important too, because, you know, without it, who are we? I'm sorry for the speech, but I'm just saying.
It's true though, and
True.
Tiffany, I don't know if you're going to be right about your prediction, but you know how you talked about Ralph Angel befriending someone in the home, and then maybe that person getting COVID.
Oh.
And I was like, please, no.
Well,
I hope not. I hope not. But I think that situation, seeing him with his soulmate, it helped him come to a realization of his own about Darla being his, and then decided not to wait, which I think is a good idea. Like,
I do too.
You know, you see, we still in this mess. So go ahead and do it.
Look, you can get a pastor on Zoom and, you know, and say, hey, we can do it right here. Don't even leave the house, you know, Zoom them in, you know, anything, get married, because like I said, tomorrow is not promised.
And you think about it, how bleak it was looking, you know, once they kept saying, oh, it'll be 2 weeks, and then about 2 months, and then all the months drag on, and you realize we are just hitting the tip of the iceberg on this situation. Like, this could drag out for years. And so when you saying like, I want to marry you, you can't wait for the perfect time. Like, you see people just passing away at the like, here today, gone tomorrow. You really just gotta say, you know what, there is no such thing as the perfect time. If the love is real, then timing, you know.
And you love each other. I mean, yeah, you love each other. Why not? I mean, I was thinking about that when Ralph Angel was in the kitchen and he was talking to Darla, and she was, you know, she was exasperated, like trying to keep up with, you know, blue studies online and stuff. And that's, you know, that's normal. You hear a lot of people saying that about trying to help their kids do their studies online and everything. And he was like, you know, we gonna be all right. And I looked at him, you know, Ronald want to hear this, but Ralph Angel is fine. So I was like, darling, you will be all right.
I got no problem with it. You know,
I'm glad you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it. I mean, you know.
No, I'm just saying, you know, I know that's what I said. I know that's why you don't want to hear it, but I was like, he's fine. And you know, this had nothing to do with nothing, but Ralph Angel was also in the Doja Cat video I sent y'all too, looking fine.
Yeah, I seen that. Ralph Angel got it going on.
Yeah.
Y'all are something. Okay. But, you know, dang, you made me forget what I was going to say.
Sorry.
Yeah, anyways. It'll come.
Well, moving right along to Nova and her situation. She was very hesitant about having Calvin's daughter come in and stay with them. And she was just worried that she would be just like Haley and cause issues and have those same ideologies. And it turned out to be quite the opposite. They actually seemed to click very well, to Nova's surprise.
Well, initially I'm thinking, oh, well, the honeymoon is over now. You know, because they were actually getting into the reality of things, you know, and Nova, she's very boisterous. I mean, about her feelings, you know, she had never a problem telling you how she feels, which is a good thing.
And apparently Courtney too.
Well, true. So I did enjoy that though, because you know, as with the younger, you know, crowd, the youth, racism isn't as prevalent with them, you know, because they grew up together. But more importantly for her, she's her own independent person, independent from her mom, and it showed that she could be herself without having to carry her mother's burden into that household with what's his name, Calvin and Nova. So I really appreciated that segment.
Yeah, I was a little worried for Courtney for a second, because the way she popped off at her dad about that white male privilege, I was like, you got it wrong, but girl, the way you said it, I don't know. If you was black, you might have got popped.
Yep. You know what? She was sounding like, you know, she reminded me of Kellyanne Conway's daughter. On TikTok, you know, and everything online, just blowing her mother up.
Yeah, I was a little worried for Courtney, but Calvin, he just seemed happy to have Nova and his daughter bonding, and it comforted him to see that they got along, because it settled all of the sentiments that Nova was worried about. And so I was glad, but I'm still a little skeptical about Courtney.
I was too.
I don't know. I can't
was
put my finger on it, but she just seems too welcoming.
I was thinking the same thing. And even if she's on board, the son was still a little suspect. So see, I think there's still going to be a little trouble in paradise.
Yep.
Yeah, and then, you know, part of it is I'm a daddy's girl, but her, you know, some of her comments felt almost like treason toward the mother too. You know what I mean? You can
but I say I'm skeptical.
Yeah, without having to throw your mom under the bus, kind of, sort of. So, yeah.
Calvin did say that the two of them are like oil and water or something like that. And that might have a lot to do with it, you know, and she looks like she could have been or may be a daddy's girl as well. You know, I kind of grabbed that, but I think it's that independence of hers. And also she, you know, having known about Nova and some of her exploits and her writings, it seems like that I think that's the direction that she might want to go, which might prove to be a little radical in that household.
I think she has a real independent streak,
yeah.
like Nova.
I was wondering though if because Nova's writings are public, if she dug into Nova and read her writings and got a grip on her ideologies and then tried to play into it.
Maybe.
That's very possible.
That's possible.
In fact, I can believe it's plausible because of the fact of something she said earlier when she was introduced to Nova. You know, she said, she had such an honor to meet her. So apparently she's been in Nova's kitchen, you know, seeing what she's cooking up.
Well, and also Nova just wrote a book, so she got some publicity behind that too. So it ain't hard, you know, to find out stuff about Nova because she, you know, she wrote for the paper before she wrote her book and stuff. So she is kind of like a public figure.
But you have to have an inquiring mind because, you know, a lot of people can have information right in front of them and they still wouldn't know it when they see it. I believe that an inquiring mind is going to come out.
Oh, of course.
A little later and see where we are, because you know that's a perfect place for conflict.
She did seem a little. Oh, go ahead, LaWanda.
I was going to say that too, that, you know, that I can see by her being so opinionated, there is a conflict, you know, between feminism and I guess people who are working towards the liberation of Black people, right? There's when you start talking about intersectionality, yes, there are some commonalities, but there are some disagreements too. And I think that's what you'll see come to play.
Yeah.
You can't equate the struggles. They're all different struggles, but they're not all equal. And I think that's where the tension is going to come.
Right. Because, you know, even during feminism or that time when women were seeking their own independence, you know, they weren't hung for their right to fight for their existence. They weren't hung. So that in and of itself will always separate the classes. So
that's a good point. I think you're right about that, LaWanda. I'm interested to see how that plays out if it comes into the storyline. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm so on the fence about Courtney. She seemed like she was genuine when she was telling Nova, you know, like, this is the happiest I've ever seen my dad. He actually is, you know, at ease. And so I'm like, she seems like she's being genuine, but at the same time, I sense that you definitely still some conflict on the way. Yeah, 2 alpha females. I don't know. I gotta get into your girl Charley. Charley was so out of line.
And we count the ways. I mean, what did she say?
It started off all good with her and Micah bonding over the cooking, and then, you know, he runs off to talk on the phone, and then later on they reconvene and she's answering an alert that comes through on his phone, and turns out that old girl Amber is out here partying during COVID and Charley is going off.
The first
wondering if he's going to the party. Is Amber white? Are they having sex? All of this, and is that what he's really after? She just went down the whole laundry list of everything that she shouldn't have said.
She had a relationship breakdown. I mean, I think when she asked that question, if she were white, she saw her past.
I would say she got triggered.
And
Yeah, she
that
did.
was a serious trigger for her. And, and the things you say, sometimes you just can't take back. And, when she correlated what he was doing with his dad, I said, oh, well.
Like father, like son. I was like, those
yes, she did. I was like, oh.
And it's so crazy to me because she had just had the conversation with Micah about how it was for her growing up and being a teenage mom in college and all the struggles that came along that, but how her own father, he accepted her and he gave her the confidence to go harder. And I'm like, well, why aren't you doing the same thing with Micah? He's his own man now. And the same way that your father trusted you to do the right thing and to work things out, why aren't you trusting that you raised Micah the right way and that he'll go down the right path? So it was just so odd to me that her own father gave her that, but she couldn't do that for her son. And she even admitted that she couldn't see him as an adult, like as a man. And she was struggling with that.
I think it has a lot to do with how men and women in general relate to their emotions in terms of, I can see with my own kids, I may not like what my daughter may be doing, or I may not like where she's planning to go or do, but I usually approach it a lot differently than my wife does. When you talk about oil and water, I'm glad she's not here, but I mean, it can go, and then I can step in on the same subject matter, and things that the whole response is different, the attitude is different. So, and I think it has a lot to do with that. So, Charley is female, she's emotional. That's my baby. He's always going to be my baby, no matter what.
Emotional. Those are our loaded words.
Well, part of that is with the parents. They play good cop and bad cop. I was that child. My daddy was a good cop. Mother was a bad cop.
Yeah.
But then Charley is also a perfectionist.
Oh yeah.
And so
yes.
that's part of what it comes from. Like, he doesn't get to make a mistake because she wants him to be perfect, because she wants to be perfect.
That's the thing that was interesting though, because when you learn more about Charley, you found out that she was like a single parent. She got pregnant young and all this stuff. So it's like, wow, for somebody, and not that there's anything, I'm not judging her for that, because that's a lot of people's walk. But the way she is such a perfectionist, you would not think that was her background. Mm-hmm. I was surprised to hear that was her background.
I think it's because she was trying not to play into the stereotype of, the single mom that goes down the life of struggle. And so that's why she went the exact opposite route, where she's like, I'm going to make sure that even though I have this child and I had him young and maybe it wasn't planned and I wasn't married yet, the ideal steps to go through, I'm still going to make it seem like that's what I did.
Yeah, she's overcompensating, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think what you said, Tiffany, is exactly to the point. Judgment. I mean, you got to go back. Look with go look in the mirror before you start to judge what somebody else is doing. Look in the mirror, look in your past, and see some of the things you've done. And it's all really about growth. And he has to grow on his own. You can't put him in this little bubble and expect him to stay that way. He's not a child anymore. So, and as you said, I was a little surprised to hear all of her past, and then to see how hard she's on, Micah. That didn't.
I think it's also because he is her only child. He's going to get her full attention, the good and the bad. So, and part of it too, the story she related to him about being having a toddler when Micah was little. She had him as a toddler, and Davis was always gone traveling, doing training camps and basketball stuff and whatnot. And so she felt like even though she had a man, she was always alone, and being in the apartment alone made her like crazy. And so I feel like this COVID time is replaying for her
It's
that same
triggering.
feeling. And so
Mhm.
she's stuck in the house. She doesn't know what to do with herself. She's kind of going crazy in her head, and she's lashing out just like she lashed out on his father.
Okay, I'm gonna catch a lot of hell for this, and y'all probably ain't gonna like me either, but you knew what he was doing before y'all got married and got hooked up, right? You knew he was a basketball star or player, and you knew what could happen. So it happened. Yes, he's going to be gone. Yes, he's going to be away because he's playing basketball. You know, they got several games that they may have to play in one city and then turn around and go to another city and play several more games. I mean, that's the part I really don't understand. And y'all maybe have to help me understand that as a male.
What you say, T?
I'll say it might be the grass is greener syndrome.
Yeah.
On the outside and on the surface, he's the star basketball player. He's handsome. I get to be with the hot guy on campus that everybody wants to be with. But then on the other side, there's also all the cons of the situation. He's always gone. He's always getting attention from other women. He's susceptible to cheating. It's like the grass is greener syndrome. You think the grass is greener on the other side.
You're right. And a lot of times, women, sometimes we can be idealistic about how we think things are going to be and everything. Because I'll just say, my son is into music, and, dating is hard for him and stuff because, a lot of women may think, oh, I can handle that. But music is going to come first for him. Whether he's dating and, and wants to be hooked up and things like that. But whoever he dates is going to have to understand that.
But that's the magic word. And see, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. The woman that he dates, or shall I say, the woman that accepts him, has to understand where his passion is. You cannot expect him to, just because he met you, that he's going to set down his passion and leave that alone. No.
But some people think they can handle it. And that's why I think that Charley probably thought that she could handle it with, ex-hubby. And then when you're in it, it's something different.
And it's different when you have a child involved.
Exactly. Because that's another stressor.
Yep.
And it's different when you're young and you're inexperienced and you don't know.
Amen.
You don't have enough experience. It's idealistic. You really don't have a concept of what that's going to look like to be alone. You may think, we'll have money, I'll be supported, but you really don't know what it's like to be alone and have to do all of that by yourself. So part of it is just youthful experience.
But to put him out for 2 months for something he didn't do, because he's being himself, he's being the person that he was made to be. He's doing what his passion, he's abiding by his passion. But yet, I understand the struggle that she had. And don't get me wrong, I can imagine how difficult it must be, trying to raise a kid. And as you said, T, what you thought was going to be on that side is now something entirely different. But I just don't understand how you could be so angry with that.
Well, I know, I think I have the answer for you, because if you notice what Charley said, she said that she had to put her social life on hold. So while Davis gets to go out here and travel and do the basketball stuff and pursue his dreams, she was focused on the books, and she put her social life on hold, and she had to sit in the apartment with a toddler. So it's like, where's my release? I don't have a life.
Right.
And I think that part of that just, it really amplifies her feelings. Like, I'm missing out on my prime while you still get to have the freedom to live yours. And I think that that's where the anger comes from, justified or not. She felt the way she felt, and she probably lashed out worse than she needed to, but because of her situation, she felt like, I'm in this alone. And so if I'm going to feel alone, I might as well be alone. And that's exactly what she said.
That's true. Because there's nothing worse than feeling alone when you're in a relationship.
That's a fact. So I'm glad she cleaned that up and even explained it to Micah, because I think that's a learning lesson for him too, as he gets into the dating world and has to understand women's feelings and how it might not necessarily come through clearly for a man, but on a woman's end, we are very in tune with, you know, our feelings and how it affects others, whereas men, they might not see all of those intricacies.
Well, I'm going to make it short, but I'll give you an example. Okay, and I'm saying this example because I don't think all men are the same, and I am saying this about myself. When I met my wife, you know, I was working for an independent news organization, and we were really growing. It was very new, and we were doing international news, and I was a morning news anchor. So about 9 months in, general manager comes to me and says, look, your time slot's doing well, Ron, you're doing this and that. And I just got married. I mean, it was maybe a week after I got married. He's telling me that he wants me to go to California and open up a new branch in California. So, and you know, we had a honeymoon child. So my wife, well, let's see, it could have been a week, maybe a month after, but I knew we were having a baby. So my wife says to me, oh no, you are not going to take your, you know what, out to California and do X, Y, Z and leave me here. Well, I had no intention of leaving her here, but you know, it was a thing for me. This was a big thing. You know, this is what I studied in college. This was an opportunity, but I elected not to go for that very reason, for what she said. Because I did understand where she was, you know, I understood where she was coming from, you know, and I have to say, to this day, it haunts me, because you never know what might have been.
Yeah, it's a fine balance between, you know, respecting your mate and pursuing your dreams.
Your dreams.
So
Compromise.
yeah, that's a whole nother day for this topic, because we could go
trust
on.
me. And then I wind up at a place, you know, Tiffany. Enough said.
You're right.
But overall, I think I enjoyed this episode. Definitely,
I did too.
It gave us a lot to talk about. So I do love this show for the realities that it presents, because it is like so relatable, and you can put yourself in these situations, and a lot of us have experienced these same emotions. Situations. So they just really do a great job at, you know, really making this show appeal to the everyday person.
A lot of those conversations were very relatable. I mean, even the Charley thing. I mean, I think she did too much, but the party during the pandemic, I can see myself saying that to my son. I mean, that was very relatable to me. That conversation, like,
I
what?
had a child that partied through the pandemic. She gonna say she didn't, but she was out.
Mine too was in and out.
Yeah.
Was in and out. I was like,
yeah, I mean,
traveling.
It's like you said. I mean, the show is so, you know, when we say reality based, it is so real, and almost in every aspect, you can put yourself in one of those positions, you know. Because I too had that problem. They just going in and out like.
That's what I do. I was like, young people. I mean, they'll be like, I can't be holed up in the house this entire time. I mean, you know.
Yeah, they were like 2 weeks, and I'm gone.
What pandemic?
Yeah. I'm fine.
I'm not sick.
Right. Well, I think I felt more like Charley when she said, if we take the pandemic away and we keep the stillness, calm that you get to have in your life without ripping and running and moving around, she said it's nice to just decompress, be at ease.
Listen, that taught me to be still. I like that part of the pandemic. That helped me a lot. I'm more rested and everything. So that's one thing that I appreciate. I really got into my self-care during this time. So that's something I'm going to hold on to even after we come out of it.
Yep.
Good point. Good point.
All right. Well, did you guys want to add any predictions or any further comments about the episode?
I'm gonna leave my predictions alone. I'm afraid at this point.
Yeah, so hopefully Darla and Ralph Angel will actually make it down the aisle this time.
Well, if you've seen the previews, it looks like they are going to.
Yeah, it looks like they might finally do it. Yeah, I don't know about any big predictions and stuff. I mean, other than I think the honeymoon is gonna be over soon for Nova and Calvin. I mean, you know, I think there's gonna be, because she made a point to say, you know, when we get back out in the real world, because right now they're in their little honeymoon nest, you know, they cocoon.
Yep.
So once they get out there, and you know, it might be some issues.
Yeah, I'm worried for Hollywood. I don't know how his mom's passing is going to affect him. So
Yeah,
I'm sorry to say the same thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm hoping he can come through this and that it won't affect him negatively.
yeah.
I started.
That's a tough.
Yeah, it's
To lose a parent.
interesting when he gets home and see, you know, if it affects him in any way, because Prosper's there and he's being taken care of, and you know, it's just some strange things, you know, feelings that he's going to have to deal with, you know.
Yeah.
I think two things. One, if they're kind of tracking the way things happen, so at some point George Floyd and Breonna Taylor happened. So
Yeah.
if they're going to address that. And then two, Charley is still on her mission to get Parker.
Yeah.
So maybe she finds something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she and Micah find something. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's true too. Yeah, I could definitely see hints of the racial unrest coming forward. As Nova was talking with Calvin about their life, even post-pandemic, and how people will perceive their relationship, especially when they're surrounded by a bunch of Trump supporters.
Yeah.
So I definitely, I feel you.
That might be the test right there.
Yeah.
That might be the test right there, because you know the unrest, and he's former police, the Black Lives Matter argument versus the Blue Lives Matter argument. That's probably going to be the real test right there between
And
Nova
particularly
and
with
Calvin.
his daughter Courtney, it would be real interesting to see which lane she's in when you start talking about Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives. You know,
She's probably going to be protesting too.
that's what I'm thinking. I mean, she'll be probably on Nova's side, and see what happens to Calvin, you know, once he's being double teamed and by his, you know, beloved daughter. That would be interesting.
And he is an ex-cop.
Yes, he
So
is.
that's going to be
That's a mentality.
that's going to be a challenge for them.
That's true.
Yeah, and if the other kids come into the mix too, we know the son is just going to pour gasoline on the fire.
And you know he's going to come visiting his sister at some point.
Yeah, it's shaping up to get interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. Overall, I enjoyed it. I want to thank the viewers for watching. Thank you for supporting us and coming back each week. Please make sure that you drop down in the comments as well and let us know what you thought about this episode. Also subscribe to our channel and like this video. And be sure to also click the notification bell so that you get alerted whenever we post. We are also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Spot Real Talk. So give us a follow there as well. Anything to add before we close out?
I think we've said it all.
All right.
Enjoy it. Great show.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks again.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Baby, ain't where the money at. Look, I just need the info. Pronto, I go and get it and split it with my kinfolk daily. And I'm the type of that might change my number on you. Yeah, that's how you react when people took a slumber on you. Pretty brown skin, baby, I can see the summer on you. You see all the bread, and I know it make you wonder, don't you? Ooh, I ain't surprised at all. Seen them rise and fall. Went up the mountain, it wasn't hard to